Okay guys, so I'm finally making a video on the AK Crossbow, the frame that I designed or helped design with Tomoquads. And yeah, I know that you guys have been waiting for this. It's been kind of an ongoing saga going back and forth with the guy at Tomoquads. If you guys don't understand the company, he's a designer. He is a small company. He's a one-man shop. He doesn't even do that full-time. He's like me. He has a regular job like me. So between him and me just kind of like doing this on the side and the spare time that we have, obviously things have gotten delayed, and it took a while for the final design for him to ship it off to China. I guess that's where he gets the frame cut, and then they get the frames back. And of course, with the Christmas holiday and everything, shipments got delayed. And on top of all that, basically the reason this thing got delayed for so long is that what you're seeing here is not the actual final design. I thought this was a final design at the time that I got this and built this, and you'll see some flight footage from this. However, things have changed, so largely the most important thing that I wanted was this TPU camera mounting system here for basically for jello isolation or vibration isolation. That's still the same, and I believe that works fairly effectively. And that's going to be the same in the final version. So this is still, I guess, a prototype. Now, my original design concept of this was to have a very thin bottom plate, a 2mm bottom plate with wider arms. I wasn't really looking for this to be a racer, more like a cruiser to get HD footage. It's got the dual mounting points here on the bottom, and then I sort of took this idea here of the bracing in the front to brace up the front arms in crashes. And yeah, that's been doing pretty good. I've had a few crashes and no damage at all. I mean, everything here is 2mm, but this isn't the final design. As I mentioned before, things have changed. There were some compromises that had to be made. I think Tomo was a little worried that my design wasn't going to be that popular, and he didn't want to invest a lot of time and money into a design that wasn't going to sell. It did seem like there was more interest in using bigger motors. I wanted to keep the frame limited to the smaller motors here with the 9mm hole pattern, which is going to make it lighter. This is what I wanted. But he wanted to open up the design to have bigger motors like the 13.0 size, 14, 15 size. Basically the motors that have the 12mm hole pattern. Obviously it's going to open up much bigger motors, much heavier frame, much heavier overall build. And so it was decided to increase the bottom plate from 2mm to 2.5mm and not 3mm. 3mm was going to be pretty heavy. This is sort of a compromise. Obviously, being at 2.5mm, it's still, if you put a huge giant motor under like a 1507, it's going to still break. And it's still a unibody design as well, not separated arms. And obviously, all that to trying to keep the weight down. I think that was that, and then the hole pattern on the bottom here, as you can see for all my components, it all uses M2 screws, and it's kind of it's not really that secure using these M3 slots. So he switched that to all M2 slots because most of the hardware out there is now M2. So I know that I kind of was like, well, why don't you just leave it maybe M3 in the back for the flight stack and M2 for that, because I know that the Split Mini and Turtle are M2 only anyway, so I thought maybe that would be a good compromise. But he just went M2 all around on that. 2.5mm bottom plate. The arms are a little bit skinnier, so they went for a thicker arm but skinnier arm to kind of keep the weight down. Obviously, I don't have that frame yet. He just got it in at the time of making this video, but he wanted me to promote the frame and get it out there. Yeah, so I'll show you some flight footage from the prototype. Obviously, I know you guys are going to be like, well, how does the real frame fly? And yeah, well, I don't know yet because I don't have it. So I'm hoping to get that pretty soon. And I'm going to do a different build. I'm actually going to build it up heavier, which is not really not the way I like to build things, but I'm going to kind of go for what I think more people out there are going to be interested in terms of performance. So I'm going to make it a little bit more performance build. Probably going to go with I'm thinking like a 1407 motor, 4S of course, probably a better stack than this one. This one here is just the HGLRC Zeus. It's an all-in-one board, and so I wanted to cut the weight down. So I'm probably going to make a ESC, like a 4-in-1, like I say, 20 amp ESC here, flight controller on top and the back here, and then split mini V2 or Trill back in the front here with the video transmitter. That's probably how I'm going to build it up. And instead of like these GEP-RC, these are the 1206 4500 kV motors here. It'll be like a 1406 or 1407 motor, something like that. And yeah, it'll have more performance, of course, when I finally get that set up. But this is obviously, I mean, I'll show you what this weighs and everything, but you know, it's kind of pointless because the final design is going to be different, of course. But I'll just show you what this one came out to. I wanted to keep it light, but still, you know, it's debatable whether you think this is really light or not. It's 125 grams, no battery, of course. And of course, when I do get the final frame, I believe the frame itself is going to be heavier, and obviously with bigger motors and bigger components in here, overall it's going to be heavier. But I'll keep this build, you know, intact, and I'll have the new build. I'll build that out with new parts and everything, and you can then compare at that point how the new one flies compared to this one. But anyway, I'll put a link to the frame if you want to buy, obviously, the updated version. You'll see the spec changes and the product page. I'm not sure what the price is going to be like. It hasn't told me anything about that yet. So you'll have to check the link and see what the price is going to be like. As far as I know, he did a very limited first run. I think it's like less than 100. So yeah, if you were really hot on getting this design, you might want to just go ahead and get it, even though I don't know myself how it's going to fly. Probably isn't going to fly too much different from this, but you know, it's going to really depend on your setup, what motors you use, ESCs, props, that kind of thing. That's going to really determine the flight characteristics, the design itself in terms of the, you know, the dual stack mounts, the camera pod in the front here, the motor placements. That's all the same, so that hasn't changed. But obviously, it's going to fly a little bit different on a different power setup, so keep that in mind. Anyway, guys, here is just a bunch of random flights I had on this one as I was testing it out. Obviously, we'll have to wait for the final version, and I'll have more flight footage and another video and another build on that one later on. So yeah, if you have questions about that, maybe parts you want to see in that, yeah, let me know in the comments below, and I'll try and make that happen for the next video.
told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby, have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no, you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you, but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away, as you fade away. You're trying to stay strong and fake a smile